Good morning, Ultimate Hustlers. It is that time for the Cortez Hustle Show, and today we're talking relationship health on this version of Wellness Wednesdays. We're talking 13 ways to build and maintain healthy relationships per our good friend Tony Robbins, and we're talking personal relationships, professional relationships, and of course, for us entrepreneurs, business relationships as well. Because y'all know they say that your network is what equals and grows your net worth. And I'm all about that life. So do me a favor, go ahead and comment in the chat where you're from, drop the name of your business and or your brand, and smash that share button, ladies and gentlemen. You do not want to miss this. One of the biggest things that contributes to who you are and where you are in life is people. One of the biggest contributing factor to who you are and where you are in life is other people. So we might want to get the right other people in our lives, know how to treat them and know how to attract them. And that's what we're talking about today on the Cortez Hustle Show. So like, comment, subscribe, smash that share button, and let us know the name of your business out of your brand. If you like a free business shout out, and let's kick it. Yo, what's up, Ultimate Hustlers, and welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show, the business podcast for the entrepreneur of the 21st century. And I'm your host, Cortez Hustle. Our goal is to give you a behind-the-scenes look at how the world's greatest hustlers build amazing brands, scale their businesses to incredible heights, sell more, make more, and create mass movements that impact the world. It doesn't matter if you're a seasoned vet or you're sitting on the sidelines with aspirations to one day unleash your inner hustle. This show will provide the insights into how pure grit, determination, and hard work has morphed into some of the most iconic brands and personalities and how they are moving the culture forward. You'll get a mix of solo shows featuring yours truly, as well as interviews and content from other hustlers that I either know personally or I've learned from or whose grind I've come to know and respect. And you'll also get exclusive recordings from our membership called Monetize My Life Academy, which you can check out at monetizemylifeacademy.com. That's a program where we go live every month with some of the best hustlers on the planet, sharing best practices on how we all can explode our brands with advanced branding and marketing tactics, business development strategies, and financial game planning necessary to build the empires we all desire. Again, that's at monetizemylifeacademy.com. If you like today's episode, chances are the hustlers you're connected to will like it as well. Share it with those in your network. And when you do, use hashtag Cortez Hustle so I can see you and hopefully give you a shout out and share you in my stories. So check out today's episode and make sure you subscribe to the feed on your favorite podcasting networks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show. I am, of course, your host, Cortez Hustle, also known as the one and only financial health mentor, everybody's favorite followpreneur from myperfectmoneyplan.com. And I got some exciting news for you guys today. We're talking about relationship health, personal, professional, and business, 13 ways to maintain and build healthy relationships a la Tony Robbins. I'm going to share the link with you from Tony Robbins' website on the article that we're checking out today. But man, I'm super excited. I just got 3 brand new trade lines added to my business credit profile. And if you guys are not building business credit, then you are slipping on your pimping, ladies and gentlemen. And I know it gets confusing. There's a lot of crazy information out there, but I want you to go to bizcredithelper.com. bizcredithelper.com. There's a free webinar right there on that site. And when I tell you, these are the exact steps that I went through. I now have 6 business trade lines and a paydex score of 80. And for those of you who don't know, business credit scores go from 0 to 100. So an 80 paydex score is good. I know a lot of people are always trying to figure out the business credit play, but go check out bizcredithelper.com and you'll see a free webinar on exactly what you need to do to start going down that path. And really, if you're not part of the Monetize My Life Academy Mastermind, we talk about all this kind of stuff. You can ask me questions directly about how all of this stuff works, and you can test it out for just $1. So we're talking relationships, man. Let me see who we got in the house today. Vivian, good morning. Sincere, good morning. Welcome to the stream this morning. Relationships are critically important, man. Like I say, your net worth equals your network. And we're going to give you 13 ways to build and grow solid relationships. But before we do that, got to give you a couple quick announcements. Really just one. For those of you who don't understand how a home-based business can help you grow your wealth, we're doing a free webinar tonight at 6 p.m. Central. That's 7 Eastern. A free webinar tonight, 6 p.m. Central, 7 Eastern. All you got to do is text me keyword webinar to 314-874-6887. And I'm going to put my phone number in the comments as well, but text keyword webinar to 314-874-6887. If you're free at 7 Eastern, 6 Central, we're doing a free webinar. Whether you have a home-based business and you need to understand how that can reposition you in capitalism for an instant pay raise and really start using that as a foundation of your wealth building portfolio, or you need a home-based business, I'll share with you guys what I actually do in my financial education practice. So text me keyword webinar to 314-874-6887. Talking relationship help, man. 13 ways to build and maintain healthy relationships personally, professionally, and in business. So y'all know we like to start the show with a quote of the day, and today is no different. But make sure you comment the name of your business and or your brand. Even if you haven't launched your brand yet, comment the name that you're going to be launching. I don't know if you guys understand the power of putting what you anticipate doing out into the universe so that you can start attracting the right people and the right resources to you. So let us know the name of your business and or your brand. Today's quote is on leadership. Been on a leadership kick for a minute, man. I was in Atlanta over the weekend for a leadership retreat. And today's quote says this: the function of leadership is to produce more leaders, not more followers. Right? The function of leadership is to produce more leaders and not more followers. And that's from Ralph Nader. And I certainly agree. That's why I give you guys all of my resources. That's why I share so much. That's why I pour out so much, because I'm not trying to create followers. I'm trying to create more leaders. Now, if you just happen to continue to follow me, great. But I know that people jump on and jump off, jump into my streams, check out a couple of my posts, and they go on about their merry way. So even for those people, I want to give them some meat that they can take away. Even if you watch one of my streams, listen to one of my podcasts for 30 seconds, I want to give you something that's going to increase your ability to be a better leader, right? Because that's what it's all about, man. Leadership is everything in business, in your family life, in your personal life, in your social circles. Leadership is everything. One might go as far to say that one of the reasons we're not where we should be individually and collectively because of an absence of sound leadership. Oh yeah, you got to be willing to admit that to yourself too, that if your family isn't where your family should be, or you want your family to be, as the leader of your family, you got to own that responsibility. If your community isn't where you think your community should be or it could be, it's not living up to its potential, you can't point your finger at the leader if you have not thrown your hat in the ring to lead. And leadership ain't about a title, y'all, right? You might have a mayor in your city who ain't doing what they need to do, but that don't mean you can't help lead that city without the title of mayor. I'm just saying. So the function of leadership is to produce more leaders, not more followers. That is Ralph Nader. And that is the quote of the day, brought to you by my good friend, Brian Keith McNeil. And I want to tell you about a special sales workshop. If you are in the service business and you're having trouble getting new clients and selling your services, then Brian has a brand new webinar / workshop that he's going to be releasing on this Monday, July 5th, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. How to get a new client, no BS. That's the name of it. How to get a new client, no BS. All you gotta do is comment keyword new client, and I'll get you the special invitation to sign up for that webinar. So let's talk relationships, man. I see you, Lavelle says, appreciate the knowledge. Have an awesome day. Likewise, my friend. Let us know the name of your business and or your brand again. I always like to give you a shout out, man. You're one of my most loyal and faithful listeners, so I certainly appreciate you for that. We're talking relationships, the importance, how to build them, how to maintain them. And this is Wellness Wednesdays, y'all. And sometimes we relegate wellness to only our physical health, right? Very recently, we started to take wellness in the area of our mental health, right? But you've got like 5 or 6 beings inside of your one being, right? You've got your physical being, you've got your spiritual being, you've got your emotional being, you've got your social being, you've got your professional being, right? Are you monitoring all of these areas of your life and trying to get better in each one of these phases? So today we're talking about your social or relationship health with 13 ways to maintain healthy relationships. So let me grab the link here so I can put it in so you guys can check this out. This is an article that I found on the Tony Robbins website. Tony Robbins is one of those guys, you know, when we do our 1 minute motivation, he's often on some of those clips. But he's got this article where he's really breaking down how to start and build and maintain healthy relationships. It says, are you in a healthy relationship? Are you looking for the right things in a partner? And again, for our sake, this is not just a life partner. This is also a business partner. This is also professional relationships for those of you who are still on your jobs, climbing the corporate ladder. Many people spend so much time looking for that spark or that feeling that they found the one, that they forget to examine whether the relationship is good for them in the first place. You must take a step back and learn how to have a healthy relationship before you can find true fulfillment and happiness with another person. So let's break it down, y'all. Let's break it down. He also gives some red flags on what love is not and what a healthy relationship is not. It would be ideal if we were able to recognize the signs of an unhealthy relationship. The truth is that it can be hard to let go of someone we love. We focus on the good and refuse to see what's often obvious to everyone else. The relationship is unhealthy. If you're wondering what is a healthy relationship, it may be time to look at some red flags. Well, what a healthy relationship is not is constant criticism. What is not controlling behavior. What is not distance. What is not lack of conflict resolution, right? These are red flags that you are not in a healthy relationship, right? But let's get into the flip side and the positive, right? If you want to build and maintain a healthy relationship, the first thing you must learn how to do and master, according to Tony Robbins, number 1, love yourself. Yep. Number 1, you've got to learn how to love yourself. Have you ever heard the expression, like attracts like? This is the law of attraction. The idea that we attract the things we focus on and surround ourselves with and it applies to relationships and to life. If you embrace positive thinking, live with passion, and are kind and accepting of yourself and others, you'll attract people who do the same. So, could you be in a situation where you're looking for love, you're looking for the right business partners, you're looking for the right mentors in your business career, but you keep attracting people to you who are like you? Right? If you guys watched the St. Louis Hustle podcast yesterday, we did an entire episode on self-love. Listen, the good book says that one of the top 2 commandments is that we love our neighbors like we love ourselves. And I ask the question, what happens though when we don't love ourselves? When you don't love yourselves, you tend to treat your neighbors like crap. Not only will you treat your neighbors like crap, but when you don't love yourself, you tend to attract to you people who don't love themselves. And because they don't love themselves, they can never love you. Never. Right? Learning self-love isn't always easy. You'll need to identify and overcome your limiting beliefs and rewrite your story to give yourself strength and confidence. But if you're wondering how to have a healthy relationship, this is the very first step. You got to love you. It says you got to think positive. You got to live with passion. You got to be kind and accepting of yourself. And then you're going to attract other people that are like that, vibrating on that same frequency. And those are the type of people that you will probably want to be in a committed relationship with. Those are the types of people that you would want to do business with, create strategic partnerships with. Those are the types of people that you would want around you in your career settings, helping you get to that next rung on the corporate ladder. So number 1, love yourself. Number 2, raise your standards. Number 2, we're talking about how to build and maintain healthy relationships, right? And if you are not in a relationship, if you haven't, locked in those business partners yet, if you haven't gotten that mentor yet, if you haven't settled down with a life partner yet, then number 1, love yourself. And then number 2, raise your standards. You must hold yourself to high standards if you want a healthy relationship. If your expectations are low and you're not putting in the effort to grow with your partner, the result will be a stale and deteriorating relationship. What is it that you truly want from your relationship? What are the standards you hold for your dream partner? What do you expect from your partner physically and emotionally? But you hear what he said. You got to hold these standards. You got to hold yourself to higher standards, right? Don't go expecting your partners to be all of this and you're going to be down here. Don't go into business with somebody that you want to be on 10 and you want them to put in a 10 effort. You want them to put in a 10 commitment and you're putting in a 2. That's not going to work, y'all. So you got to first hold higher standards for yourself. And that from those standards, you build realistic expectation for your business partners, for your coworkers, and for your life partners. Right? Can't have high standards for everybody else and you walking around below average. Don't work like that, because I guarantee you, if you with your below average standards just so happen to look up and attract somebody with high standards, they're not sticking around for long, because that's a mismatch in energy. That's what the Bible speaks to about being unequally yoked. Your standards are here, their standards are here, your standards are down here, and you want that to work a long time. One thing I know about people with high standards, they're not going to spend the rest of their lives with someone whose standards are not up to par. Period. Because it's almost, we almost have like an allergic reaction to people who just are not ambitious, who just don't want anything, right? And it kind of turns our stomach to be around folks who don't really want it, right? So that could never work. So number one, love yourself. Number two, raise your standards. It's number two, raise your standards and your expectation for yourself. And that's going to allow you to have standards and clear boundaries for those that you accept into your life, be it a business partner, be it a life partner, or even in your coworkers and your co-working space. So we're getting down this road, man, and some of us have some tough questions to answer about what it is that we really want and how we want to show up in our relationships, as well as how we expect others to show up in those relationships as well. But now it is time for 1 Minute Motivation. 1 Minute Motivation is a time in our show where we play a short 1 minute motivational video. And you guys know how much I love positive growth, self-development. And you got to be intentional about it, because everything you consume is part of personal growth and self-development. But you want your personal growth and self-development to be positive. So you got to be intentional about what it is that you consume. And this is why I love this segment. We're all going to hear the same clip, but something different is going to jump out at each one of us. So you comment your takeaway, and I'm going to give a couple of my takeaways. So let's get into 1 Minute Motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show.
Decide that you're going to become the active force in your life. Decide that you're not going to go through life feeling like a victim. Decide that when things become challenging, and they are, that you're not going to personalize it, that you're going to look at it and you do whatever you must do in order to work things out and learn from it. Learn from it. That's the key.
Promise yourself you'll read the books until your skills change. You'll go to seminars until you get a handle on it. You'll listen to it until it makes sense. You'll go for it until you understand it. You'll practice it until you develop a skill. Never give up until, however long that is, step by step, piece by piece, book by book, word by word, apple by apple. Walk around the block, walk around the block. Go for it. Don't miss the chance to grow. And resolve that you'll pay the price until you learn, change, grow, become.
Commitment is the key. The moment that you commit yourself, then all unforeseen incidents, people, things that can happen that are positive begin to come your way. And basically the whole thought was the fact that nothing comes to you until you commit yourself. Nothing comes to you if you're just going to try, but you're not committed. Nothing comes to you if you're just thinking about it. It's not until you take the action step. It's not until you take the direction do the things start to flow through you.
Hoo-wee. I don't know about y'all, but I'm charged up now, baby. I am charged up now. I heard 3 words. Comment in the chat. What was your biggest takeaway? I heard 3 distinct words that jumped out at me today. Of course, first, decide. Man, I don't think we understand the power in decision. It's in your decisions that your life changes, right? You realize when you decide, your life changes in an instant, right? When you really make a decision, right? Yes, there's some steps you're going to have to go through to follow up in the decision, but it was the decision that changed everything, right? Because indecision, the word decision is the opposite of the word incision. When your doctor makes an incision, they're cutting into you. When you make a decision, you're cutting away. You're cutting things out. When I decided to build a media empire that will one day surpass Ted Turner and Walt Disney, there's a lot of things that gets cut away when I make that decision. I don't know how I'm going to do it. One of the things my mentor said over the weekend, he said, man, don't worry about the how. Get the why and the what, and the how will show up. Would you guys to put that in the comments? Get the why and the what, and the how will show up. Why do I want a media empire? Because somebody's got to start telling our stories the way they need to be told, right? Claude Anderson said, Dr. Claude Anderson said, if we don't have media, then we can't communicate. And when you can't communicate, you can't mobilize. Wait, what? Yeah. See, we need to be able to communicate, then we need to be able to mobilize. Get the why, get the why you want something, identify what it is that you want, and the how to get it will show up. The second word that I heard was the great Jim Rohn say, until. Cortez, how long are you going to be building on this media empire? Until. This isn't one of those things where, hey, I'm just going to try to figure it out for a little bit. And if I can't figure it out this year, then I'm going to move on to something else. No, he said until. I'm going to keep putting forth the effort until I get a result. Then I'm going to analyze that result. I'm going to learn the lessons if that result resulted in a failure. And then I'm going to, man, y'all don't understand. You make a decision. You try. You get a result. You properly analyze the result. If you analyze the result properly, that the lessons that you extract from analyzing the result is going to feed your belief. I don't care something. There's always a lesson. There's always something that's going to feed your belief, but you got to properly analyze the results. And then I heard the word commitment. Nothing happens good or bad until you commit. And to be honest, nothing happens good and bad until you commit. What do you mean, Cortez? Listen, once you commit to doing what you've decided, then both good and bad show up in your life simultaneously, because the world is built on polarity. When I decide to build a media empire, then I know that the universe is moving the resources that I need into my life. But I also know that that same universe is also moving opposition into my life. And some of us got it twisted. We think that the universe is moving opposition into my life to stop me. No, it's moving the resources I need and opposition at the same time. The resources for me to get over the opposition to strengthen me so that I'm prepared for the battle as I continue to ascend. Some of us decide, we commit, and the minute we commit, the universe brought us a resource and the universe brought us a problem. The universe brought us somebody to help us, and the universe brought some haters into our lives. But we thought that the universe brought the haters to stop us. So we ran into that first bump in the road and we quit and we gave up. No, that's not how it works. The universe brought me some resources to deal with now. It brought me some haters, some opposition to strengthen me to deal with what I'm going to have to deal with on the next level. But if I never get by the haters, if I never get by the opposition, then I'll never develop the strength to deal with the next level. So it's all a moot point anyway. So decide until. You got to work on your dreams until. You can never give up. You can never quit. And then commitment. Nothing happens good and bad without commitment. The late, great Dr. Miles Monroe said, every vision must be tested for authenticity. So when you decide that you're going to build something great, know that that vision is going to be tested. So as you're deciding, start preparing to pass the test. That is 1 minute motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, brought to you by the Extra Digit Movement, man. We're having a webinar tonight. If you want to learn how a home-based business can get you an instant pay raise, get your debts down, get your expenses down, get your credit score up, get your assets up, get your cash flow and income up, then I need you to text me keyword webinar to 314-874-6887. Text me your name and keyword webinar. And I will send you the private invitation link to join us on a Zoom webinar tonight. And that's what we're talking about. 314-874-6887. How can a home-based business be the foundational component to your wealth building journey? It's something that you guys been hearing me say for the last 6 years. I don't think y'all understand how powerful it is. You got to reposition yourself in capitalism. If you work a job only, the position you've chosen in this capitalistic society is to be taxed the most and to have the hardest go at building financial success. If, on the other hand, you added a home-based business to your job, I'm not saying quit your job. No, the best place for you to be if you're trying to build wealth from scratch is to have a business and a job simultaneously. And we teach you how that works, whether you already have a home-based business or whether you need a business and you need a good team to work with. Text your name and keyword webinar to 314-874-6887. Now, back to the lesson at hand. We're talking relationships. How to build and maintain healthy relationships. And we're learning from a Tony Robbins article that I found on his website. I thought it was super dope. 13 ways to build and maintain healthy relationships. We're talking personally, we're talking professionally on your jobs and in your careers, and we're of course talking to our business owners. You've got to understand how to build strategic partnerships in business. And my mentor, Henry Doris, is always talking about those strategic apartments, being aligned with the right people is so critically important in your life, but also in your business. So number one is you got to learn to love yourself. You can never, ever truly love anyone else if you can't really love yourself. You can appease somebody else. You can tolerate other people, but if you don't really love yourself, you can't really love someone else. Number two, raise your standards for yourself first. And when you raise standards for yourself, then you by default raise standards and expectations of other people that you're dealing with, right? Number three, learn how to meet your partner's core needs. What is a healthy relationship? It's two people making each other's needs their own. It's two people making each other's needs their own. The more you do this, the more fulfilling the relationship becomes. What are your partner's core needs? Comfort, security, significance. How do they want these needs met? Through touch, through words, or something else? Comfort, security, and significance are the core needs. How does your partner, whether it's a business partner, whether it is a coworker, whether it is a life partner, how do they best receive and know or communicate with you that they feel these three things are being met, right? It goes back to the book, The 5 Love Languages, right? Some people speak in a love language of service, some physical touch, some words of affirmation, right? How does your partner, what is that language that they speak, right? See, I have my primary love language is words of affirmation, and secondary would be physical touch, right? So when my wife isn't constantly affirming me with words, then I could feel like she doesn't love me. Now, her love language is acts of service. So the way she speaks, her love language is she does things for me. Right? Now, she could do things for me all day, every day. And from her perspective, it feels like she's showing me love. That's not how I receive love, though. That's not my language. So she had to learn that while she's doing things for me, she has to also be telling me how great I am, how much she appreciates the things that I do. Because when she affirms me with words, then I feel loved. I have to constantly be doing things for her because that is her love language. She feels my love when I do things for her and I give her quality time. Right? The same is true in any relationship. You got to figure out what the core needs of, if you're in business and you have a strategic partnership going on, what are the core needs of that partner? And how do they best determine when those needs are met? You can't do something and you say, I met that need. You need to find out from them, how do I meet this need for you? Right? Number 4, communicate effectively. Healthy relationships depend on effective communication. You don't need to be a mind reader to know what your partner wants. Odds are they've told you. Communicating in a healthy relationship means listening. Listening, right? Listening. If you talk to my sales coach friend Brian Keith McNeil, he will tell you that in order to sell something, it's about listening, right? My other coach, Brian Bean, is the same way, right? We like to do a lot of talking and very little listening. And that's where we're messing up communication. Communication is more listening than talking, right? And it's more paying attention in general because 80% of all communication is nonverbal. So you got to watch hand gestures. You got to watch body language. You got to watch environments, body positions, and all of that kind of stuff. All right, Amber, welcome to the stream this morning. So effective communication. Once you know what your needs are and your partners, you can actively work to make sure they're being met, right? So many people haven't defined exactly what they want in a relationship in the first place. So it's hard to say to your business partner, your coworkers, or your life partners, what you want. And you got them out here guessing, right? So let's recap real quick. Number 1, got to love yourself first and foremost. And in loving yourself, it will lead to number 2, you raising your standards for yourself first and foremost. And when you have your standards at a certain level, you're expecting a certain level from yourself, then it becomes easy for you to set expectations for those that you want to partner with in business, coworkers, etc. Meet your partner's core needs. This means you got to ask questions. You got to find out what makes your partners tick. What do they consider success, right? So that you can figure out if that is something you're even capable of meeting. You got to know what their standards are and know if you're even capable. Do you even have the capacity to live up to that standard? Number 4, communicate effectively. Number 5, grow together. Grow together. What if the road ahead is tough and full of challenges? As Tony says, every problem is a gift. Without problems, we would not grow. Problems, obstacles, and misalignments are opportunities to push forward and grow together with your partner. Lack of growth is better known as stagnation, which can lead to deterioration when it comes to relationships, right? Growth is a product of uncertainty. Are you in a position in your life where this goes back to our 1 minute motivation on decision? If you've already decided, right, that divorce is not an option if you're married, if you've already decided that we formed this business partnership and we're going to stick it out through thick and thin, if you've already decided that I'm going to climb this corporate ladder with this company, I'm going to ultimately hit a certain position as an executive in this company, then you know that there's going to be some challenges. And if you partner with somebody and you guys made that declaration and you decided to grow together, then boom, hardships become easier when you have people to go through the rough waters with, right? Now, don't get it twisted, people. There are some rough patches in your life where only you can go through and get through. But when you're in a partnership, then absolutely you and your partnership be going through together and growing through those things together as well. Number 6, this is so huge, man. This is so huge. This goes to society as well as, you know, and your loving and relationships and your partnerships and business and with your coworkers. Appreciate your differences. Listen, man, it didn't say tolerate your differences, right? Because we're talking about relationships that we've both decided to enter. See, if I'm not in a relationship and we just happen to share the same space at the same time, then I can tolerate your differences. But in order for us to go down the path together, go down this road together, in order for us to link up in life, whether it's business for a short stretch of time, whether it is a life partner for a lifetime, whether it's co-workers for a season or two, if we have decided to get on this journey together, then I have to appreciate your differences, not just tolerate them. You don't need to ignore or play down the differences between you and your partner. On the contrary, appreciating your differences is essential to maintaining a sense of excitement in the relationship. Those little differences are what awaken your interest in each other in the first place. And this is something that you must keep close to your hearts and minds. Appreciating your partner's different. My wife and I are different, right? I was raised by a single mom, and my single mom, as her way to parent a young Black child, was to give me a long leash, right? In St. Louis, I could be anywhere in the city, and St. Louis ain't that small of a city, right? We call it small for those of us who live here, but it's not that small of a city when you're talking about a child, right? I could be anywhere in the city as long as I'm home at a certain time. My wife, on the other hand, when our children were little and we got them bikes and things of that nature, she like, you don't ride that bike past this square or that square. Don't ride your bike outside of the driveway. Now, I want y'all to think about something. We just live in a regular, common residential area, right? Where the driveway is just 2 car lengths. And she's telling my sons, don't ride your bike beyond the driveway. Wait a minute. You can't even pop a good wheelie in the driveway. But that came from the differences in how we were raised. So we don't tolerate, we celebrate. And ultimately, that allows us to raise children somewhere in the middle. So appreciate your partner's differences. Number 7, develop trust. Trust is the foundation of all productive and healthy relationships. From trust springs respect, and both are necessary for sharing, interaction, and growth. And it's during times of stress and uncertainty when your mutual commitment can be subject to doubt that you truly discover just how much or how little you trust one another. I want you guys to put this word in the comments, because you don't get trust without vulnerability. A lot of people want loving and trusting relationships, right? A lot of people want these relationships, but you don't get that trust without being vulnerable. See, trust is about me giving you something that is fragile, and you then holding that and keeping it safe. But if I never give you anything fragile to hold to see if you're even willing and capable to keep it safe, then we'll never build trust. Right? Trust comes from me opening up to you the deepest and the darkest parts of me, and seeing what you do with that. That's how trust is built. That's how trust is built in business, in co-working space, and partnerships and relationships, right? In business, I might have to reveal to you a little bit of the proprietary information about something that I'm doing and I need your help with. And I got to be willing to reveal that to you and then see how you're going to handle that. Are you going to protect that? Are you going to keep it safe and sacred as I do? And when you do, then that's how I know we can have a trusting relationship. Trust. It's something that has to be developed. And you don't give the deepest and the darkest at the beginning. You just become a little bit vulnerable and a little bit more vulnerable and a little bit more vulnerable at a time. Now, some of us wear everything on our sleeves when we become too vulnerable too early, right? But that's how trust is built. Number 8, be honest. Appreciate that, Kelly. Be honest. When you think about how to have a healthy relationship, honesty is key, including being honest with yourself. See, the first relationship that we got to show up is the relationship with ourselves. Some of us aren't honest with ourselves. Therefore, everything that's going on in our relationships is a falsity, right? Being true to and confident in yourself is a vital element in forward-looking conflict resolution in your relationships. It's important to be honest and courageous when you face disappointment, pain, and surprise. All 3 of those are coming. Disappointment, pain, and surprise. In fact, you're either in one right now, you just came out of one, or you're on your way to one. How you gonna handle it? The most passionate romances have met moments of sadness. Don't avoid conflicts when they come. Face them honestly and fearlessly, knowing that you and your partner are up for the challenge. Yeah, know thyself and thy unselfish, and to thy unselfish be true, or unto oneself be true. Man, that is so true. You got to know yourself, because if you don't love yourself, if you don't know yourself, then you can't even present yourself to a partner, right? And you mess around and you be in a relationship with somebody who's trying to love you, but you schizophrenic in a relationship because you haven't settled on who you are. Right now, this person is loving somebody different every day. Number 9, redefine intimacy. Intimacy isn't just physical, and it isn't always about big moments. And here we go, right? Every time we do this show, there's always something that punches me in the gut. And I try to tell y'all, I get across to y'all that this show is for me first and foremost. I'm talking to myself here. I'm looking to build a stronger relationship with my business partners, with my wife, with my sons, with my family, right? With my community. So I'm studying this stuff for myself, and I'm just talking out loud. And this right here, this one right here, redefine intimacy. Intimacy isn't just physical. Now, for me, it is, because my love language is physical touch. Right? My love language is physical touch. So when my wife puts her hand on my bald head, I mean, that is one of the most loving things that she can do, right? But I have to remember that that's not her primary love language, right? Real intimacy, and it's not about big moments either, right? Real intimacy is about the smaller everyday moments. It's sitting next to one another on the couch, waiting for watching your favorite movie, for the 10th time. It's making your partner's favorite meal without them asking you to, right? And I want you to look at, for those of us who are entrepreneurs, and we're looking at this from a business standpoint, a mentor-mentee standpoint, a co-working mentor or co-worker relationship as well. All of this stuff applies universally across the board, y'all. If I'm in business, what does that mean? I don't have to do something big for my vendors. I don't have to do something big for my strategic partners. I don't have to do something big for my upline or for my downline. Sometimes it's the little thing. Sometimes it is making myself available. Sometimes it is taking the initiative to do what needs to be done without them asking me to do it. See, these are the things that you do inside of business relationships, right? Those of you who are working jobs, man, I want you to understand this. Oftentimes on a job, if you want to become the manager, you have to do the job of a manager without being paid to be the manager for usually a year or two. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me why. Listen, oftentimes in your career, you have to do the things of the next level long before you're getting paid to do those things at the next level. Weirdest thing ever, but it's the truth. But most of us in our job lives say, they not paying me for that. And they never will. So I want you to hear me clearly. In our job lives, we say things like, oh, I could do that, but that's not my job. That's not my position. Well, if you're trying to elevate to that position, then you have to learn the principle of doing things that you're not yet paid to do, so that one day you'll be paid to do those things. In fact, because of the law of sowing and reaping, one day you'll be paid way more than you can imagine for doing those things, because you actually sowed the seed when you were not getting paid. So redefining intimacy. Number 10, discover the power of polarity. Polarity is the attraction between opposite energies. Masculine energy is about commitment, certainty, and purpose, whereas feminine energy is associated with vulnerability, spontaneity, and proactive play. Healthy relationships, no matter the physical genders of the partners, need to have a partner with masculine energy and one with feminine energy. Period. That's just how polarities work, right? To achieve a lasting passion with your partner, you need to explore your polarity, right? It was this polarity that attracted you to each other in the first place, right? It is the opposites. It is the fitting together like a glove. You've got a curved out piece and she's got the piece that fits. And it's not just about the masculine and the feminine, right? That's just the primary example listed here. But, you know, opposite temperaments, right? My wife is a lot more hot-headed than me, right? But we got those opposite temperaments. She's like 4'11", right? So She's got little people's complex. And that's an opposite temperament. Me, I'm the most non-confrontational guy that you're going to meet. So we balance each other out. And that also goes back to us appreciating the differences. She appreciates that I can stay cool and level-headed in almost any situation. I can appreciate when she feels like somebody is coming at her husband, she gonna cut their neck. Right? I can appreciate that. Right? But that's the polarity, right? Got 3 more real quick. We gotta go. Align your values. Now you can be polar opposites, but still align your values. Differences in energy aren't the only kind. Even healthy relationships can encounter disagreements about values and long-term goals. A successful relationship will use these difficult situations as a chance to realign and grow instead of using them as an excuse to break down. Aligning your values, right? Hey, what means the most to you when it comes to our family? Oh, here's what means the most to me when it comes to our family. Hey, here's how I see our relationship growing over the next 10 years. Oh, here's how I see our relationship growing over the next 10 years. Hey, this is a deal breaker for me. What's a deal breaker for you? Right? When it comes to parenting our children, they got to meet these criteria, right? If they want financial help from us. Okay, well, I agree, but I think that we should, instead of those 3 things, I think we should just focus on these 2. Are you willing to give up 1? And if they meet these 2, we can help them financially, right? Align your values. Number 2, shift your focus. If you plan to travel the swerving, obstacle-ridden road towards a healthy relationship, you need to be clear to yourself about the outcome you want. Once you achieve clarity and commitment, you have focus. Clarity and commitment creates focus. One of the things that I took away from our weekend with my personal coach and mentor, Brian Bean, is that sometimes we have a wide focus and a narrow vision. You got to flip that to where you have a big vision and a narrow focus, right? The sun light is all over the world, right? But if you take a magnifying glass and you take that light and you focus it, you can start a fire. Some of us need to shift our focus, bring clarity to the commitment, and you're on your way. And number 13, last but not least, keep it going. You worked on how to have a healthy relationship and reach a satisfied place. Now you move forward, leading by example and always nurturing a healthy, loving connection. You always have choices no matter what life throws your way. You can experience pain and suffering and push yourself and your partner with it, or you can take what comes, process it, learn from the experience, and figure out how to apply that lesson to your life. So what is a healthy relationship? The bottom line is that a healthy relationship is something that you must nurture and maintain, no matter how long you and your partner are together. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, I want you to get your money up, because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve to do it, each and every single one of you. Now hustle up. But you've got to overcome fear if you're going to win.
You're tuned into the Cortez Hustle Show. Please like and subscribe.